All right, this video will be about the pickup. And really, here we'll probably just get the pickup created. We'll learn a little bit about another script to get it to sort of rotate to make it more visually interesting. And then also talk a little bit about the concept of a prefab. So let's make the object first. And again, nothing fancy here. We're going to come into the aim objects. We are going to add a 3D object, and it's going to be a cube as well. And so that cube will be sort of up here, basically, and we're going to get it to rotate. Now, in terms of the size, it's a little bit big. It's about the same size as the player. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller, and we'll just scale it down. It's up to you. If you find it too big or too small, I'm going to go for half the size there. And the height, now it's put at 1.5. I'm going to make it a little bit lower, maybe at like 1 or something like that. And again, this would be something that we would just sort of go in and see, does it feel right? And you can make those adjustments. So there's never, as a game designer, there's never always one right way. It's whatever you think feels best. We'll add a material as well while we're here. I'm still into my materials, so I'm going to create a new material. And this one, I'm going to make this yellow again. Feel free to make whatever color you want. Just go to my yellows and grab a nice mustardy yellow, sure. And I'm just going to make that yellow. Okay, so yeah, that's all we've done there. Pretty straightforward. Looks like my memory is running out, but that's okay. Okay, so it's going to be fine. Just see if I can press F and will that fix it? Oh yeah, no, it's still, oh well, we're okay. So we've got that pickup there. Now, as it is, okay, it's just sort of hovering in free space. It does have a collider on it, so I should bump into it. But the idea will be, once we get this working, is that when I touch it, it will pick up and, we'll get a point sort of thing. But before we do that, let's make this a little bit more interesting by creating a bit of a rotation. And to do that, we're going to create another script. So go to my scripts folder, and we've got our camera controller, our player movement. Let's make another script, and let's call this Pickup Rotator. I think that would be a good name. Pick up rotator. Okay, and this is going to be a really, really easy script. Now you can see that when you create something over here, like the script, you can actually see the code, but you can't edit it, okay? So yeah, I think the open there will take me into Visual Studio. Might as well try. And there we are. Okay, so it takes you to Visual Studio to do that, or double click. Now all we want to do is in the update, rotate it. And so again, we're going to access the transform. But this one's a little bit different. We're going to do transform.rotation. And oh no, sorry, transform.rotate. So we're actually going to rotate it here. And you can, when you click on this, it does give you a bit of an explanation. And it is a little bit, as beginners here, this can be a little bit intimidating, but you get used to it, right? It just becomes something that you take some time to understand, and things start to make sense. So it does say it takes a vector 3, and it says Euler's, and those are just sort of our typical degrees. So what I'm going to do is transform.rotate, so we will use that one. And then in here, now again, don't worry too much, but it's going to be a vector 3 because we're going to spin it in 3 dimensions. And these numbers here, these angles, 30 and 45, will just create a nice tumble. I mean, you can modify them and see what happens, but this will just like a nice sort of over the edge sort of rotation. But again, you could change it up if you want. Now I'm going to add something else here, and just as it says, time.delta time. So time is another sort of library, and this one here sort of goes by the passage of time. So delta means change, and so the change in time. So the interval, like it says there, in seconds from the last frame to the current one. So it reads it in seconds. Why this is important is that the games will run at various speeds depending on the speed of the computer, depending on the browser, whatever else is going on the computer at that time. So what this helps do, what this helps does, is ensure that the game runs, and in this case, just the spin runs consistently. So you're not getting it faster or you're not getting it slower. It's sort of at the same time. Okay, for all users, all computers, sort of thing. Okay, let's take a look at this. So I'm just going to make sure again, save and go back to Unity. And before it rotates, and actually we should have given it a name. So I'm going to click on cube, and before I do even anything, I'm going to go pick up. We're going to set that, and then I'm going to drag that script in. Now, maybe I'll show you a different way as well. I mean, dragging to me is the easiest, but you could also go add a component, and way down, new script is sort of down here. Oh, no, it's create and add. I thought there was a way to grab your scripts. Maybe I am just, oh, there's scripts. There we are. So there, sorry. Yep, so there is. So scripts, not new script. And then you could pick the one that you want. So pick up rotator was our one here. So if I run play now, it should rotate and tumble in a, I'll say, interesting manner. I mean, you can speed that up if you want, or change the rotation if you want to spin it horizontally or just whatever, feel free. But for the moment, that's what we've got there. Now, obviously we want to have more than just one pickup in our game. The other topic I'm going to bring up is something called a prefab. So I'm actually going to make a folder for those prefabs. So again, folder and prefab. I might just put an S on it because it will be multiple. Now, what is a prefab? Prefab sort of comes from the word prefabricated. Prefabricated means pre-made. So sometimes they call, like mobile homes or mobile classrooms, right? Those portables, prefabs, because they're made off-site and then they're sort of just delivered. That's kind of the concept here. What we're going to do is sort of make this object in advance, and then whenever we need it, we can bring in or instantiate, which is the fancy word, a new object. Now they're all sort of related to each other. So if you make a change to one prefab, then all the sort of the prefabs that you've put into the game, that you've instances of that prefab, will change as well. And that will be useful in a minute here. We'll see that. The other thing there is, well, I guess I could say that, in terms of where would you use prefabs? Perhaps, you've got a player, right? And then your player dies and you want to bring in your player. Having it as a prefab means that you can just destroy the player that's on the screen and bring in a new player. Easy. Bullets or missiles or anything that sort of, you shoot and then they sort of disappear and you need to shoot it again. Those are great examples of prefabs. Now, in this case, we're probably, depending on your game, you might want to instantiate more. That's an option. Not what we're going to do here, but just to show you how a pickup works, it is useful. So how do you make something a pickup? Well, all you need to do is click on that pickup and then drag it into your assets. And I'm going to drag it into my prefabs folder. Now, what you'll notice right away is that changes color. The other thing, of course, that you can do now is you can just drag it in. So instead of going Control D to duplicate, we can simply drag these in, and we could have multiple pickups in our game. Okay, if you want to make sure they're all the same height, you can sort of highlight them all, and you can see here the X, Y, and Z are different. And so I think we said 0.5 was good, and so they're all there. Okay. Now, if, for example, you wanted to modify your prefab, if you double click or just click on your prefab, let's say I wanted them to be I'm going to make them really big. So if I do 4, 4, 4, then you can see they are all much bigger. Okay, obviously not the right size, but because they're all related and they're all sort of made from this singular prefab, pickup prefab, then they all sort of get created. So that can be useful, and we'll come back to that in a second. I think I have those out at 0.5. We'll keep them a little smaller. Okay, so if I do hit play now, right, they're all nicely rotating, and I can bump into them. But as I said, we want it to pick up, and so we will go into the next video. We will do that and make sure that we can pick up the objects with no issue. Perhaps save. Good idea. And we'll keep working on the pickups in the next video.